in Washington. Tonight, Julianna Stratton gets to the point.
From Chicago's very own, with WGN political editor Tahman Bradley, this is The Point.
Good evening. It was Tuesday night's biggest prize, the Democratic nomination for U.S. Senate. There's plenty of time, circumstances can change, but barring a remarkable turn of events, Julianna Stratton is favored to win in November. Lieutenant Governor, congratulations. You had a heck of a party the other night.
Yes, it was a lot of fun, and we had the result we were looking for, and just really grateful to now head into the general and keep doing what we've been doing, listening to voters across Illinois.
What an amazing rise. I think back to early January, it was our poll, WGN Emerson, that had you well behind Roger Krishnamurthy. What was going on in your mind at that time? Did you feel like you had ground to make up?
Well, what we knew was that we had a message that was resonating with voters, and even from the polling that we saw early in January and throughout the campaign, we knew that there was almost a ceiling that the congressman had and that the support was there, but it didn't seem very deep. And so if we knew we could get our message out, we knew debates would be starting and people would see the contrast. And as we could continue to get ads up on television, people would hear the message that would really resonate with them. And it was a message that wasn't sort of given to me, this is what we have to talk about, because I think that's what voters are tired of. They want us to listen to them and then reflect back to them what really matters. And that's what I did. People want higher wages. They want to make sure they can take care of their families. They want somebody who's going to fight for them in Washington. And that's the message we conveyed.
You did really well downstate. Was that the result of being lieutenant governor? Was there a particular program? What do you attribute the success downstate to?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. Number one, I am the only candidate in this race that has represented the entire state of Illinois. That's both for the primary and for the general. I've represented the entire state for the last 7 years, and look what Governor Pritzker and I have gotten done. We didn't just act for people in a certain region of our state. We have delivered for Illinoisans all across the state, whether that's raising wages or creating thousands of good-paying jobs or expanding access to affordable health care. We have delivered, and that's what people want. And I think that there's just an overall sense of being frustrated with what's happening in Washington. People don't feel like their leaders in Washington are really standing up and fighting for them. And I think that as that message got out, no matter where you live, that's something that you want to see happen. Leaders who will stand up to a president who, even downstate Illinois, they're feeling the effects of health care being stripped away, of SNAP benefits being threatened, and so much more. And I don't know anybody who is proud of the way that they've seen these ICE agents come in and terrorize our communities. People see this president as a real threat to our democracy, and they want him stopped. And they heard from me that I'm going to be the one to stand up to him.
Your Republican opponent, Don Tracy, well known among GOP voters. Are you going to debate him? Will you engage him, or will you just focus on getting your message out?
Well, this is a real race. I mean, I'm not taking anything for granted. I mean, there probably will be an opportunity to debate, and I welcome that. I welcome the opportunity for voters to hear directly from us as candidates about why we would be the best leader and advocate for them in Washington, D.C. And I expect the opportunity to show that I'm the one that's going to stand up to Donald Trump. I certainly don't expect that from Don Tracy.
I would imagine you heard from a lot of people since Tuesday night. Did Chuck Schumer call you?
He did.
What was that conversation like? Because you said you will not vote for him to be leader.
Yeah, my position hasn't changed, but we had a wonderful conversation. He congratulated me, and I indicated that I look forward to getting to Washington and getting things done.
Did you get any phone calls where you're like, oh wow, this is happening?
I think all of the phone calls made me think, oh wow, this is happening. I mean, you get through election night. It was a tough campaign, and you kind of put it all on the line and hope that you get the outcome. But I think that night we were sitting there waiting to see the results, and you never really know what's going to happen. And so the next day was really somewhat surreal of just realizing all of the hard work you put in, getting the message out, an incredible team around you. And I think every call that I got the next day congratulating me was really just a moment of saying, okay, we did exactly what we thought. We spoke to the issues that mattered to people. And now we roll up our sleeves and get to work for the general.
You say you're going to Washington to fight. That's what you'd like to do if you win the election. But obviously there's the filibuster, $25 an hour federal minimum wage, campaign finance reform. Some of your agenda may not be filibuster proof. So what will you take up first, and how do you get your colleagues to come on board with these ideas?
Well, when Democrats take back the Senate, I want to abolish the filibuster, at least significantly reform it. I think the filibuster has blocked so much important progress, whether it's common sense gun safety legislation, reproductive rights, voting rights, so much that has been under threat where we could make some real progress in Washington. It's been blocked. And so when Democrats take over the Senate, I want to see an end to the filibuster. I also would say those are the exact kinds of things, by the way, that we've done in Illinois. And that's why Illinois is a real model, and why I talk about taking the blueprint to Washington. We've, protected voting rights. We've protected reproductive freedom. We passed an assault weapons ban. That's what we've delivered. And now I want to do that in Washington.
While we're on pay, here in the city of Chicago, the city council voted against Mayor Johnson's phase-in of a raise for tip workers. What do you make of that? There seems to be resistance to paying minimum wage workers more. How do you combat that?
Well, look, everything that I've seen and heard on the campaign trail is people want to make sure that they can take care of their families. And I don't think that's such a radical idea or a bold idea. We should be able to make sure that people have enough money in their bank accounts, in their pockets, to put food on the table, spend a little in our small businesses, save for their future. And I don't think we should be thinking about at the federal level, where there's a $7.25 minimum wage, that we should think about how to give people the bare minimum. I think we should think about a livable wage, and I think it should be something that happens at the national level, so that we don't have states that are saying it's okay for our residents to just struggle by at $7.25. We raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour here. That's $31,200 a year. That's not enough for anyone in this economy to take care of themselves or their families. So I'm going to keep fighting. That's what I've heard people be excited about. And we'll work with the business community. We'll work with business leaders to come up with a plan. You might recall here in Illinois, when we raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour, we did so on an incremental basis, because when we worked with business leaders, they said, this is how it's going to help make this happen. And we listened to them. So I'll do that in Washington, and let's pay people. Let's give them what they need to thrive.
These are 6-year terms in the U.S. Senate. Again, if you're successful in November, what would you like to, what's the main thing you'd like to accomplish in those 6 years?
Well, I certainly want to make sure that healthcare, which is on the line right now, both with what we saw with the ACA subsidies, what we're seeing with millions of Americans being stripped of their Medicaid, we need to make sure that every American can have access to healthcare. I don't believe that people should be choosing between paying their bills and getting the care that they need, and everyone should be able to see a doctor when they need one. Look at what we've done here in Illinois. We have eliminated over $1 billion of medical debt. We've lowered the cost of prescription drugs. We have done so much to make healthcare more affordable, eliminated step therapy. This is something that I am passionate about. I ran for office 10 years ago because of efforts to strip away health care from seniors like my mother, who was living with Alzheimer's. And that's what prompted me to run for office, and we're still seeing health care on the line. So I'm gonna fight every single day to expand access to health care. I wanna see Medicare for all, and I will do everything I can to make that a reality.
Lieutenant Governor, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Stratton's Republican opponent is former state party chair Don Tracy. Tracy loaned his campaign $2 million. He's hoping his message on affordability and immigration help attract outside donors.
Thank God we have a closed border now. They said it took a change in law to close the border, but it just took a change of presidents. The province, immigration law is the province of the federal government. And enforcement of immigration law is the federal government's responsibility. And it's worked well throughout the country, except in the sanctuary cities. I spent almost 10 years in Memphis as a traveling salesman for our family business, as a law student, and then as a lawyer. And I was down there recently, a couple of weeks ago, with Pastor Corey Brooks. And their streets are safer down there, according to people I talked to. They took 1,000 illegal firearms off the streets. They found 150 missing children. That's what some of this enforcement is doing. They also took narcotics off, and they arrested about 5,000 people, executed a lot of arrest warrants. And there was no problem because the local authorities cooperated. But where you have massive resistance and local authorities not only not cooperating, but encouraging resistance, it takes a different type of enforcement.
We're back in 60 seconds. A winner has been declared in the Democratic primary for Illinois Comptroller. The Associated Press says State Representative Margaret Croak will move on to the November election. Runner-up Karina Villa conceded just minutes ago. Croak is ahead by more than 26,000 votes, with 99% of precincts reporting. Croak had the endorsement of Governor Pritzker. She previously worked in his administration. Outgoing Comptroller Susana Mendoza backed Holly Kim, who came in third place. And tonight we tip our hat to Greg Pratt of the Chicago Tribune. Tuesday's primary is over, but he's looking ahead to future elections. He posted this on X Wednesday. Melissa Conyers-Ervin, badly losing her congressional race despite getting $5 million in outside support, makes you wonder about her political future. Will anyone look at her loss and her ethics scandals and seek to unseat her next year? Pratt's ex has been real on point this week. And that is The Point. Michael Mater is back with more news at 9 o'clock.